pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we please have a roll call?
Okay, Flynn? Here. Okay, Mogul?
Present.
Scribner?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Now, since this is the organizational meeting for the Board of Ethics, we won't obviously do the approval of agenda and approval of minutes, and that's just the order of how the meeting would be performed. So now we're gonna do, since nobody's here, we don't have any public comments. We'll go ahead, go to number 7, oath of office, and Clerk Sonia Stout would be administering that for you guys.
Okay, I'm gonna come up to you guys. If you guys wanna stand, and just raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of a Board of Ethics member in and for the Village of Lake Orion, County of Oakland, and State of Michigan, according to the best of your ability?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna get signatures on the wall. And then I can get your copies if you guys would like, otherwise we keep everything on file for the office. So you are briefly sworn in. Yes.
Thank you, Clerk Stout. Now we're going to move on to our board member introductions. I believe you have not really met each other, and this is a good time to introduce yourselves to each other and to the public who, if they are watching right now, they have, a background of your education and experience. Let's go ahead, start with Mr. Scribner.
Sure. My name is Chad Scribner. Grew up in Oxford. Moved to Lake Orion in 2020. Currently working as a real estate agent. So have had training in fair housing laws, things like that, serving the public, best interest of the client. I am also a current election worker, poll worker. Have done that for a little over a year now, I think. Last election cycle, which I enjoyed. Other experience would involve pharmaceuticals. So I have worked in pharmaceutical industry. Part of that, being a heavily regulated industry, have to deal with root cause and CAPAs. So figuring out if something goes wrong, there's an issue, there's a disagreement, why it happened, the intent behind someone's action, whether it was incidental, sometimes fraud, maybe incidental misrepresentation, maybe a policy or procedure or training wasn't clear enough. So I'd really like to bring that here to the ethics board, and really with the foundation of the board, with the focus on training and a more of a preventative, approach. Hopefully we get nothing, so that would be great. So that's kind of what I can bring to the table and what I kind of hope to see the ethics board do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's go now to Ms. Flynn.
Hi, my name is Lisa Flynn. I am a resident of Lake Orion now. I grew up in Leonard and went to high school in Oxford and lived in Michigan up until 2018. I moved to Arizona for 6 years, and then I just moved back in November because it's just too far for my family to come, and I got tired of being the one that travels on the holidays. So I'm just outside of the village limits in Lake Orion. I am a retired vascular surgeon. I work now as an independent medical consultant for Blue Cross Blue Shield, just part-time. I am a retired lieutenant colonel from the Army. I did 2 tours in Iraq. And when I was practicing downtown, I was on the ethics committee. And that we dealt a lot with patient issues. You know, people that need an alternative caregiver or somebody to make decisions about their medical care. But we also do a lot of, when I moved into healthcare administration, that was when I was still practicing, and it was a lot of, you know, I've been in the ICU, my doctor wants to pull the plug on me kind of thing. So when I was doing that, I went and did a master's in healthcare ethics through Creighton University. And so that gave me really good training, and then I moved into healthcare administration once I quit clinical practice, and then I was on the fraud, waste, abuse, kickbacks side of the ethics, more policing providers than working directly with patients and families. So I think that gives me a background of like the little person that might have a complaint and also conflict of interest and things like that in city government. So I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Lynn. And last but not the least, Mr. Mogul.
Hi, I'm Ken Mogill. I have lived in Orion Township for 40 years. My wife and I have raised 4 kids and went through LO. And we live in Orion Township, but not in the village, but my office is in the village. And it has been for 23 years now. I'm a practicing attorney, and relevant to our work here, my area of expertise is legal ethics. And it has been for 35 years of the 54 years that I've been practicing. I'm an adjunct professor at Wayne State University Law School, where I teach the professional ethics class, and I'm past chair of the State Bar of Michigan Standing Committee on Professional Ethics. Done a lot of seminar and conference teaching on ethics issues. We deal with, relevant to what you said, Chad, about preventive. A lot of what we do, some disciplinary work, but a lot of what we do is also providing consults to lawyers and law firms who are interested in avoiding a problem rather than stepping in it unintentionally. So that's pretty much why I'm here, and I was also planning on saying I hope that we can do things that are preventive.
Very much.
Rather than cleaning up a mess after the fact.
Thank you for your background introductions. Now we're gonna go on, move to the election of officer. I also wanted you to speak a little closer to the mic, just in case, you know.
You can move them.
Yeah, so, anyhow, in accordance with section 30.65, subsection A, subsection 4B of the Village of Lake Orion Ethics Policy, the Board of Ethics shall select its own presiding officer from among its members. The election process is as follows. We'll go ahead and open the nominations for the presiding officer position, and nominations do not require a second. Whoever is nominated, accept the nomination if he or she would want the position, and then we'll go ahead and close the nomination and then vote on the nominees. Now, if only one member is nominated, a motion may be made and seconded to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for the nominee. We'll go ahead and open the nominations right now.
I nominate Ken.
Any other nomination?
I would also like to nominate Ken as well.
All right. And that seems unanimous, and we'll have Mr. Mogul as chair. If you could now
Thank you
take.
very much. I'll try not to mess it up.
Congratulations, and now you're gonna continue chairing the meeting.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. So our next agenda item is to review our duties and responsibilities as the Board of Ethics. And each of us was provided with a packet prior to the meeting. Just from, it's my understanding that all 3 of us have reviewed it.
Okay.
It probably makes sense to
We,
solicit comments from the 2 of you that can be instructive for us as we try to get oriented?
Right, so, if you guys wanted to add something to the policy that, we can consider, we can do that. It's basically just, we want to make sure that you guys have reviewed the policy and, will abide with what the charter says on the policy. We don't have to do any changes right now, just suggestions or comments if you guys have any.
And we can collect the signatures at the end, because
Right.
it does need to be notarized. I brought my notary items, so we can do that at the end, just to kind of speed up the meeting. And then, as Lindsay had mentioned, I mean, if you guys had any questions or anything about the ethics affidavit?
Nothing about the affidavit, no.
Okay, so then
Not
we'll
for me.
just do the signatures at the end, if you guys are okay with that?
That's fine.
Okay.
All right, we'll go on, move to 7E, Mr. Mogul?
I'm sorry.
Oh, actually,
No, I want, is there anything that, are there any requests pending that would, nothing? Okay, that,
This is just the formality part, just making sure, we make sure that all of the boards have read the ethics affidavit, and we've been collecting signatures, just to make sure everybody is
no,
complying with it.
yeah, no, I understand that we have to
Yep.
do that, and obviously we should, but I wanted to make sure before we moved on from
Sure,
the bylaws and rules of procedure, if there was anything in the way of a request pending that might lead us to want to focus on some
Sure.
particular
nope,
subject.
you're fine.
All right. Bylaws and rules of procedure, I mean, if we've all got them and we've all taken a look at them, any discussion that either of you wish to bring anything up about?
These are the Birmingham ones
correct.
that we're just looking at to mimic. I guess my one question was, it did say that anyone can bring a complaint to this board or a inquiry, or what's it called?
Incident, maybe?
Incident or a complaint. And it said against any council member or city employee. Now, that's not gonna, I mean, is that gonna bring something to us of just a city employee, somebody goes to pay their bill and doesn't like the attitude they get or something? Is that gonna come up to us, or is that gonna be worked on by their local manager?
I can't remember where I read it, but I feel like it's supposed to come through the clerk's office,
Okay, and then
and be screened.
you determine? Okay.
Yep, and then I believe then it's brought to you guys if it's deemed, that it needs your attention.
It also wouldn't surprise me to get some incidents that are labeled as an ethics complaint but are actually something different. We get
Yeah.
in the attorney discipline field, for example, sometimes, some ethics complaints are, actually ethics complaints. Some are a fee dispute masquerading as an ethics complaint. Some are somebody, they just needed to vent something.
Right.
Right.
And so the folks who do the work then sort those out and.
Yeah, okay, that's why I just want to make sure, because
Oh,
it does say
good
that.
question.
It
Right.
says the conduct of a city official or city employee, and I thought, well, there's a lot of city employees, do we?
Right.
Everything, if somebody, especially,
Some of the employees
Some of it
belong
is
to a
just a
union
little-
too, and they can go to their steward, union steward to
Right.
file grievance, there first, if they're not comfortable going to village admin office.
okay.
Anything else on this point?
No, I think I would agree because, the complaint is anything as defined in the Code of Ethics. And then the Code of Ethics here, Section 30.61, responsibilities of public office, such as the Constitution of the United States and of Michigan, involving things such as exceeding their authority, breach of law, but also, acting of the highest standard of ethical conduct. That might be difficult, as you mentioned, to screen or triage those coming in.
Yep.
And of course, this is new to us too, so they're, we will see once we start getting, I guess, the complaints.
Yeah, because
If we need to revamp these bylaws based off of, you know, the type of complaints and maybe the process as they start coming in. Hopefully, we don't get any, but I'm sure there's gonna come a time where it will happen.
Another thing to note is, I think, once a complaint is received, according to the procedure, we have to have a hearing.
Repeat
Is
that again?
correct? We have to have a hearing regardless of,
Which page are you on, Mr. Scribner?
I'm on the incident complaint form,
Oh, okay.
right at the paragraph at the top, the last sentence, within 7 days upon receipt of this filing, the clerk will set a hearing for this matter and notify the parties involved according to the ordinance.
It's page 26.
It is 26.
So my understanding is someone files a complaint with this form, and then we have to have a hearing on it. But it doesn't mention if, let's say, for example, the complaint maybe doesn't warrant a full hearing, which I guess is maybe the point of,
On page 18, under Rule 302 dismissal, it does say the city clerk may administratively dismiss a complaint if it fails to comply with Rule 301.
okay.
I don't know where
And
301
then
is.
304
It'll be there.
also says the
301.
board may issue a decision based on any of the following reasons. So lacks jurisdiction, subject matter, legal capacity to assess the complaint. So I think we'd all have to look at it and decide if a hearing is warranted.
Okay.
Okay.
And I guess that brings up another question. How would we, I mean, you know how difficult it is to get people in a physical location within a 7-day time frame if we do have to have a hearing. Do we have any capability for Zoom or things like that if there's something more urgent? To have like a virtual, you know, 2 people can make it, 1 person can't make it but is available and could remote in?
I know we can't do we had a scenario come up and we can't do the remote in because the Michigan meetings opens, or Michigan,
Open meetings.
thank you. We can't remote in, but if there's 2 of you for a quorum, 2 can still show up.
Okay.
We have seen, not with Board of Ethics, but we've seen with boards that are smaller in size, where sometimes we'll have things, I mean, where we will postpone a decision or postpone an item until we have a full board, just to make sure that they get the correct review, if you would. But I think in the beginning, as long as we have 2, and then I think we can always call a special meeting too. So you'll have your regular meeting, but we can call a special meeting. We just have to notice, excuse me, within 24 hours for the special meeting.
Okay. Because, I mean, if we start getting some complaints or incidents and it says we have to have the hearing within 7 days,
Right. Or, I
probably
mean,
not going to fall on our monthly meeting.
do we want to extend the 7 days? Would you prefer 14? I mean, we can make these changes, you know, as you guys see fit. If 7 seems like it might be harder to reach because of the size of the board, we can do 14 days. It's just what Birmingham used.
Will we have the ability to receive through our email a communication of what it is and read it? And then we
Yes.
could all,
Yes.
you know,
Yep.
communicate through email, yes, this definitely needs a hearing. Maybe say we have to review it within 7 days and then a hearing within 14.
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't there an Open Meetings Act issue if we're?
You have to be you have to be careful with that because you're not supposed to, if you mingle, you're supposed to meet together if you're going to discuss. Like it has
If we
to,
start emailing back
Yeah.
and forth,
you have to be
But
careful.
Can we at least receive what the complaint
You
is
can,
and read it
yes.
on our
What,
own?
we can receive it, you can just not respond.
Okay.
You could respond to us and
Right,
let
and
us
say,
know.
Lisa thinks this
Yep.
needs a hearing, Ken thinks it does, Chad
Yes,
doesn't.
you just can't be on like an open communication.
Okay.
Yep.
But we could all,
in terms of timeline, is there any reason we can't say, it'll be considered, you know, the presumption is that a complaint will be considered at the next regularly scheduled meeting?
I mean, I don't see, I mean,
Unless the
there's,
board decides
unless
otherwise.
it's some sense of urgency, I think, I mean, we could do that. That would probably fit.
in 7 or 14 days.
maybe that could be our last date,
Right,
you know, up until the next open meeting, scheduled meeting.
yeah.
And I'd also like to clarify too, since this complaint form is gonna be, you know, public facing, what a complainant is gonna file, I think we wanna be very clear about if we say there's gonna be a hearing, but there potentially could not be, based on Rule 302 from the clerk, we wanna maybe make sure that someone is aware, because they might expect a hearing as this like blanket statement. So we can amend that to say, right now it says at the clerk's discretion. They may administratively dismiss a complaint.
So maybe at the Board of Ethics discretion, will be advised if there's a public hearing to be held.
Yeah, and I would say to clarify that the complainant knows that this might not even make it to
The Board of
the
Ethics.
board, you know,
Okay.
to have a full hearing. 'Cause
So
that's,
just have more disclosure on the complaint form?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay.
Because
Good catch.
if I was filling out this form and saw that last sentence, the clerk will schedule a hearing, I would expect a hearing.
Right.
And that may not be the case, so just want to set expectations for the complainant.
Okay, anything else with respect to, excuse me one second.
So I think what we can do is we can revamp the form and then bring it back to the next meeting and have you review it. I think that would probably be the best, just to make sure that you guys are on board with that before we move forward with like publishing the form. Just to make sure that it's what you guys are expecting.
Excellent,
Yep.
thank you.
Are you going to outline that the clerk will have the first review, and at the clerk's discretion, it will be sent to the board, and the board's discretion will be whether it gets a hearing?
Yes, we
So
can do
they
that.
realize there's two steps?
Excellent. Any other discussion with respect to the bylaws and rules of procedure?
I think we got it.
All right, in that case, our last order of business is to adopt a 2025 meeting schedule. And so, any discussion as to frequency of meetings, or are we obligated to have a monthly schedule?
So it doesn't state in our charter that you have to have a required minimum. I know some boards it does. For example, planning has to meet 4 times a year. It does not state that. We have you scheduled as monthly. With some boards, like for example, our BZA, sometimes they only meet twice a year. We just cancel the meetings if there's no cases. And what our practice is, as soon as we know there's no cases, usually we prepare the agenda. It's the week before your meeting, so it would be the Thursday before you meet on the Wednesday. We send out notice, we notice the public, the online, and let everyone know that the meeting has been canceled, no agenda items. And then of course, if there is a meeting, we already are scheduled. So I think we should probably go with the monthly. If we need to cancel, we'll cancel. But we do have to just adopt a schedule.
Yeah, no, I understand we have to do it
Yep.
obviously. Discussion about monthly or not?
I think monthly works and is fair, how we discuss with complaint schedules, and I think that's a reasonable timeframe.
Yep. I have one conflict for the rest of the year.
Okay, I'm going to be out of state on July 23.
Mine is the September meeting.
Okay,
So,
And really, as long as we have 2, we still have a quorum.
great.
So what our practice usually is, especially when we have smaller boards, we try to make sure you RSVP
Yes.
to make sure that we have enough people for the meeting. If not, sometimes it's canceled or rescheduled as a special meeting. So we definitely can work with, if one of you are missing, but our practice is just to make sure we have a quorum, before. If not, we'll have to cancel a meeting. Some of the items can wait, like if we are, we'd like to get the bylaws reviewed and your complaint form as soon as possible. But if both Mr. Scribner and Ms. Flynn are available at the July meeting, they could still adopt. You would get a copy of the packet as well, so you could review as
Of
well.
course. Thank you.
Also, segueing on that, if you're going to be absent for July 23rd, and we will be here, I think we should establish is it proper to establish the presiding officer when our chairperson is not going to be in attendance?
So usually what we do is you'll elect a chair to chair the meeting. So if Mr. Mogul is not here, let's say Lisa will elect you to be the chair. I guess that is kind of complicated.
I mean, I am all for having, if you would like to, you know, I guess not as the backup chair, but in case of an absence.
It's an important point.
I'm fine.
Okay.
I can do it.
Okay, so Ms. Flynn, you are
For July 23rd, the chair.
the chair?
For-
Okay,
Would you like to make a
Make a
motion
Sure.
to elect her as chair for the next?
Yeah.
In the event that July
Meeting.
23 meeting is
Correct.
not canceled, your
Yes.
motion is that
Yes.
Ms. Flynn be the chair for that meeting.
Yes,
Okay.
that is my motion.
that
Okay.
works.
Any further discussion?
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Who
And
seconded?
who's second?
We need a second, okay. Can the chair second?
Yes.
Okay, the chair seconds.
All right, motion passes.
And I think we can assume that it's passed unanimously.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's when, for July 23rd, we do need to adopt the actual schedule. So we would need somebody to make the motion, and we have a recommended motion on the packet. You can just read it, whoever wants to make the motion.
You don't have to read the dates, you can just, to adopt the 2025 regular meeting schedule of the Lake Orion Board of Ethics as follows. You could just read that.
So you want us to do it tonight? Okay. Perfect.
Yep.
All right.
To make the motion.
I move to adopt the Board of Ethics regular meeting schedule monthly for the rest of the year as noted on page 30 with the no meeting on December 24th holiday. Anybody second me on my motion?
I will second that motion.
Okay.
Okay. Is it required to go through a formal vote, or,
Nope, nope,
okay, it's unanimous.
yes,
Motion passes.
yes.
All right. That appears to take care of our agenda.
Yes.
If anybody has anything else to address, is it permissible to make sure that everybody's had an opportunity to be heard?
Yep, and then we have on here, the next regular meeting is scheduled July 23rd, which we've covered.
Yeah.
If you guys don't have any comments, we would just entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Yep, second that.
Second?
Okay.
Okay,
In that case, we are adjourned at 6:58 PM.
perfect.